coffee. I probably don't need coffee. I don't know. I'm getting them.
Good, how are you?
Everyone, there's tons of backjacks, so come on in. Taylor, floor with us. This one's
There's a bunch more backjacks. We just have to make more. That pile. There's another pile.
so that other people can stand there.
She can't sit here by herself.
I know,
He
let's-
doesn't sit by her until
Until
they
they
get
get
back. Lindsay!
Yeah, can we start making it? Jody, will you get all the kids to come in here?
Okay, we're actually officially going to start. I don't know why I chose to speak first. We here are a triad and have been in Lauren's triad for 20 years. Lindsay gets the award for coming the furthest to be here, I think, from Toronto, just to be here as part of this. And what an amazing group of people that are here. This feels like the best of all possible reunions for the best of all possible reasons. Those of you that were at the ceremony yesterday had the great good fortune of hearing Lauren's speech, and she talked a lot about mentoring, being the importance of finding mentors and also of becoming a mentor. And she talked really eloquently and beautifully about how she has been mentored by the people who are here in this room. Some of you more than others. Some of you really taught her patience. Yes, I'm looking at some of you in particular. But one thing she didn't say yesterday, it was inferred perhaps about how great it is to be a mentor. Lauren and I started together, so my whole career has been with this woman. Is just how much she's touched all of our lives and been so much a part of who we are. And to say goodbye, it's going to be really wonderful to celebrate her career, and it's also going to be sad. So I don't know if any of the other triad members want to say anything real quickly. We made, so Jen, Dave, and I had the best time, actually, of going and making this book for Lauren. And we chose many of the pictures that are in the slideshow, but there were had we made a book out of all the pictures that are in the slideshow, it might have been an encyclopedia set. So we just chose the ones that we loved. And then I got home and I was going to make the book, and my battery died on the computer and I had to start all over again. But here it is.
You are from the open school.
How many times have you heard that excuse, Lauren? But it is made as a journal, so there's a lot of white spaces in here around the pictures. So it is intended for people to write in the book and to say things to Lauren. So I know some of you caught it as you came in, but please, we are really going to be excited to have Lauren have that as a lasting memory. We're going to get up and move out of these seats because Bruce and Megan and Colin are going to come and actually sit here because her family has been part of the open school, such an essential part of Lauren's part of the open school. And what did you decide? Are you going to say anything?
What I really want to say is, I'm sorry you guys all came, because I've changed my mind.
Thanks for the cake.
Can eat the cake, have a good party together, but I was never really, no. What I want to say is I can't express to you how overwhelming this is to have you guys here. I mean, I had a conversation with Oliver, and he said, you know, that final support meetings can be traumatic. And I understand what he means, because it is just so amazing to see all of you here. And, you know, I love all of you dearly, and you've been so crucial to my life here at the Open School, and I just want you to all know that. And if I don't get a chance to tell you personally, just thank you for being here. And I just want to say that the job that we have here as advisors is just the most amazing, incredible job. And something like this, I mean, just daily. And something like this is just like the icing on the cake. You guys have made me laugh and cry every single day for many years. And I also want to acknowledge the amazing staff here. They are really phenomenal people, and it's going to be really hard to continue my life without all of you. I think I have to stop.
Okay, so the first day you walked into the Open School, we're starting there, right? The first trip? Okay, you guys come up, you come sit, we'll move out of the way.
We have another book that Lauren's advising started. And so we're going to pass this one around too, so that, because that probably won't make it to everyone. So there's another book, and we'll start it right here. You guys want to start it?
I'm Lauren's designated handkerchief holder. Steady supply. Hijo.
So, yeah, what we'd like to do right now is an opportunity, I mean, for you to share. I mean, I know many of you have been to Final Supports, many of you had Final Supports. And if you haven't, you'll figure it out. But we wanted this opportunity for you to be able to speak to Lauren as opposed to her. She's not going to talk about her 222 passages, her 300 trips that she's done. So we want to give you that opportunity to give her some words if you'd like to.
I want to start because I was not the first person you met at Open School, but one of the first. And this was around 30 years ago, give or take. And you and Roberta came and student taught. And I was fortunate enough to be your mentor supervising teacher for that experience. I saw right from the beginning how thoroughly you wanted to be ready for whatever the needs the kids expressed might be. And even up until early May, I saw the same person doing that job. You have impressed me over the years. I remember for sure the archaeology trip you went on with me over Halloween when it was freezing cold. And I was under a tarp and the kids were under an overhang. And it got so cold that your sleeping bag wasn't adequate enough. So you went to the van. And you were sitting in the van with a flashlight reading, I guess. because I heard the van door and then I saw a light in there moving around and I thought, oh my God, somebody's broken into the van. So I snuck up around the other side of the van and I whipped the door open and he went, ah!
It was terrifying.
And embarrassing for me. But then you got one of the fattest sleeping bags I've ever seen in my life. And the biggest foam pad to sleep on. So you definitely learn from your experiences.
Yeah, that was the trip where we dumped the van into the arroyo.
What do you mean, we? That was my fault. I was backing up and the grass was frozen. It was so slick.
Crawl up over the seats and out the passenger side window. And the bottom of the Suburban was actually underwater, or was it a van?
Yeah, it was a van.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a helpless feeling. We were backing up to turn around, and the ground was so frozen and so slick with the heavy dew that had just turned to ice. Coming down the hill, I put the brakes on, and we kept moving. And so I just said, hang on.
I was like, we're getting closer and closer to the, and I'm like, Jeff. It's like, I have the brake on.
Well, that was another one. And then thank you for saving me from overdoing the cheater fire starter. Yeah, numerous other occasions.
He burned my eyebrows off. Like, with a stick and fire, and he'd come by and just dump way more gas on it.
So somehow you let me get away with some of those things. But I was really proud of what kind of a teacher you turned into and what kind of a mentor, not just for students but for other teachers. You put everything into it. Sometimes maybe more than you should, just in terms of taking care of yourself. But everybody in here has benefited from that generosity of spirit and that ethic to work hard to do well. So, I love you, and I was fortunate enough to know both of your kids from birth, and our kids and your kids are friends. Before you came, Bruce was my student teacher, about 5 years before that, and 3 years, whatever it was. So I really feel a connection to you and your family, and I'm proud of you. I hope you have a wonderful time, and yeah, you will miss it because you enjoy it so much, but when August comes around, and maybe you're off in the Boundary Waters, or maybe you're out picking flowers or gardening, and everyone else is coming back to school and getting ready for the wilderness trip and the New Year's Eve party, and you'll say, I don't have to go.
Maybe wandering around out.
You're gonna love it. There's a lot more I could say, but I just really wanted to tell you how proud I have been of you.
Well, I'll go next. When I came to the open school, I didn't know anybody here, and it was a eye-opening experience, to say the least. And Lauren, you were one of the people whose trust and faith really helped me in the early days. And we shared some really interesting early experiences, like the time we were in a meeting up in Eddie's room. And you came up and said, we need to talk, because one of my advisees shot a goose. And the said goose fell in the elementary parking lot just as it was time for kindergartners to be picked up.
Slowly died.
And through that, we both learned
what it means in the open school to work with kids around potentially serious concerns, and I learned how to honor advisors' role and how to walk that razor's edge with the district and do things the way that needed to be done here. But that was a lot of fun early on in my first year. And then there was the time we were in Japan together, and you came and picked me up at the airport because I came late, and showed me, you know, how to get around, and the time that you and Lindsay and I were at the museum and saw the Shinro Otaki retrospective that was just amazing. We shared some great experiences on that trip, but overall, and I said this in my card to you, you wrote me a letter at my final support meeting sharing all that I had meant to you, and I'm not nearly as capable of writing all those things, but I know today and in the future that you will get such meaningful expressions from people about what you've meant in their lives. You meant a lot to me here in the 5 years that I was here, and I really love and appreciate you, and I thank you.
Well, since my girls won't necessarily get up, since we all know Dalen, and Katsi is trying desperately to cringe. Thank you so much, as a parent, for being that strong female presence in their lives. You showed Katsi her life's passion and did something that had never been done before, having a walkabout advisor bring in a 6th grader into a science class so that she could take apart squids to her heart's content. I still haven't gotten over that trauma. And Dalen, who, by her own confession, doesn't like any humans, but she loves you. And it takes a very special kind of human to inspire that in her. And so, as that mom, thank you for doing that for both of my girls. I really appreciate
I have a story about geese. So about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we were on the Rattlesnake Canyon trip, and we had hiked the previous day, and I was practicing my goose impression, and I was showing it to Caroline, who's in here. And right after I had gone maybe the 4th goose, whatever you call it, the flock of geese came through, and you were setting up your tent, and you stopped and looked and said, "Eli, did you summon those geese?"
It was dark. Geese flew into this weird canyon that we were in. And I was just like, oh my God.
Caroline made fun of me for the next year. And I don't know, you've been the best science teacher, and like my favorite moments in class are the moments when you're not as much teaching as you are just kind of nerding out about one subject. That's amazing, and it's something that I love to be able to share with a staff member. And thank you for being so amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go next. Hi, Lauren. It's been a little bit since I've seen you. Oh, where do I even start? I came to this school from Chatfield. I'd been there 3 years and had gone through a crappy divorce. My mom and I don't really get along still to this day. So, I mean, how do I describe to you that, you and other teachers kind of became, not just a mentor, but like a mom. I didn't have that. I didn't have that in my home. I don't really have very many friends that are girls. Like, it was nice to come to school and not only know you as a teacher and a science friend, and I don't know how to describe it. There's no word, there's no actual good word to put that says to you, thanks. Thanks for everything you've done for me. Thanks for being not only a mentor, but a really good female role model in my life. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than I just remember all those times in science class having fun, I'd curse or something and be like, I mean, I don't know how to describe it. Like, there's no good word to put to it. I just know that you've always been there for me, Lauren. You always were. You were one of the few people that I really related with. I love science and I loved you as a person. The San Francisco trip was amazing, and yeah, what can you say? What can you say to somebody who doesn't intentionally become your mom, but kind of becomes your mom? What do you say? I don't know. Thanks, Lauren. You're a beautiful human being, and I truly believe that if there is an incarnation of the Divine Mother on this earth, it's you. You don't need to go seek it somewhere else. It's right here. So, I love you, Lauren. I hope that not only you, but everyone else, as sad as it is, I hope we, I guess understand this is a change, and change isn't necessarily bad. So I hope it's good. I hope whatever you do with the rest of your life is something you want to do and you're happy, and that's what I want. Yeah, that's it.
Some of my biggest regrets from my senior year was not having as many individual advising meetings with Lauren. But there's some of my clearest memories as well from senior year. And I remember sitting down with Lauren and Lauren being like, "So Charlie, you're really doing poor in your science classes." And I'm like, "Yeah, Lauren, that's not really my thing, but I'm gonna write a screenplay and I'm gonna submit a short film to Sundance. That's the plan." And what should have happened was Lauren being like, "No, you're not gonna do that. That's difficult and takes years and years and years of work for people to reach that point." But she didn't miss a beat. She was like, "Sweet, cool, I'm supporting you all the way, and this is gonna be awesome." And that didn't end up happening. I don't think that could take a while. But I don't know. I'm very thankful for you last year, because last year was a very interesting year in my life, and I think a lot of people's lives too. And there's a lot of fluctuation, and so many things were changing in my life and how I was viewing the world. And you helped me through that and was able to guide me and really give context to the things that I was realizing and about relationships and friendships and all of these things. And I think without that, this past year of my life, which was very powerful for me, and I went on to do so much learning, and I think without you and your guidance, I don't think I would have come to the same conclusions that I've come to, and I really, really thank you for that. And I don't know, I think it's your turn to kind of sit back and have people. I mean, you've supported so many people, obviously, and touched so many people's lives that I think now it's your turn to kind of relax and be supported. So I'm really glad that you're ready to do that and you've found yourself comfortable. And I'm excited to see what you do now that you've retired.
Well, I wasn't the easiest advisee for you to have, I think. But one thing that you really did teach me, Lauren, was to be stubborn. You did allow me to be stubborn because I really was a very stubborn person, and I still am. And that did really teach me later on in life, after high school, that I could just, I could be stubborn. I could go up to my teacher, and I could, I could say, hey, this is how I'm going to write my paper, and I know you have your guidelines, but I don't feel like this is the best way. And so I did that. And guess what? I got perfect scores in those classes because I was stubborn. And you you really let me be who I was. And there were a lot of people who, constantly didn't want me to be who I was. And I don't know, I've just been able in life to be who I am. And that's really thanks to you. You've been a strong presence, and I've been really grateful. So thank you. Yeah, back in Belize, yeah. I learned I could float in water for a whole minute. Yes. But I really thank you, Lauren, because it really has been a blast being able to know you and being a part of the school. So thank you. Thank you.
I think you have to tell that story, just really quickly.
Go ahead.
Emily was in a canoe going down a river in Belize under a log, and
our boat, everyone, they were like, okay, all of us lean back in the boat. Another person in our boat thought that they could swat away the lines real quick to get better passage, and the flipping of the paddle capsized the boat. Well, everyone else made it, to shore.
not only capsized the boat, but John McCluskey was sitting in the back of the boat. The front went down. It flung him out the back of the boat over the kids, neither of whom could swim, that were in the boat, and it was pretty crazy.
You better turn off the camera. This is
Yeah.
You should be singing.
Yeah. And I was telling Lauren the whole trip up there, I was like, I've got a bad feeling about this, Lauren. Can't I please just be in the bus? Can I please stay in the bus? I'm going to just stay on the bus. And like the whole shoreline, I was like, Lauren, something's bad's going to happen. I don't want to be on this boat. But I knew I could float, so yeah. That's good life lessons. That was a crazy trip.
Okay, Lauren, this year has been one of the most amazing years of my life, and I think a lot of it is due to you. Just being in your advising and how supportive and just an amazing advisor you are is just amazing. You're like a second mother to me, and I love you so much. Going back to the wilderness trip, you really are the mother of God. I love you, Lauren.
So I've got a story from the wilderness trip that has to do with Mother of God. So we were on the wilderness trip, and we had come to our first campsite, and I think it was the second day there, and we were making breakfast. And
Pizza bagels.
Pizza bagels. And I was on the other side of the campsite. Lauren's over here, cooking with some kids, and I don't know who was over there, who wasn't. But they're cooking, and you just hear "Mother of God" all the way across the campsite. And it happened that Lauren had touched the hot pan.
Okay.
As if, it was just a hot pan.
So
and
basically the cheese wasn't melting on the bagel pizzas, but it was on a direct flame. And Lauren wanted to check to make sure that the pan was hot. So she touched the bottom of the pan, even though it was on fire.
It echoed all the way across the campsite. And we were probably a good 200, 300 feet away from where they were cooking, and all of us that were on that side of the campsite just kind of turned to each other and went, and so Lauren, I just want to say also that you've been hilarious to be around, and it's been a joy to be in your advising, and to have the amount of support that I've gotten from you has been, it's been wonderful, and I appreciate it so much because I haven't had that for a while, and I'm not good at talking in front of crowds, and I'm about to cry, so come hug me.
I will continue the trend of advisees from this year. So, okay, even though I chose you as an advisor, I was super intimidated by you because like everybody loves you, and oh god, okay, so I knew that you were gonna be like that advisor who's gonna make me talk to you and get things out of me and learn my entire life story, and I didn't want that because I wanted to keep that to myself, but I'm really glad that you were my advisor, and I love you, and I'm sorry that we forgot to get not decaf for the wilderness trip. So, thank you for being my advisor, and thank you for everything that you've done, and you're always going to be my advisor, so I'm just going to be calling you like every day from college next year, so I love you.
I'll go.
I've got a
Just kidding.
message from our kids who they love you and they're so excited that you get to move forward in the next adventure. And as a former colleague, I really loved how calm you always were, even in those tumultuous changes. You always, it's okay, it's cool, it's gonna work out. And I really appreciate the model you were for my daughter, who is also a scientist now. So thank you, and may all the years to come be as full of joy in all the new different ways that you're going to be doing it.
Good years, I love them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go now.
Yeah.
So I didn't take any science classes with you, and I don't even think I took a single class, but I know exactly, yeah. But you were my older sister's advisor, so I knew how cool you were. And so mainly our relationship was me coming over to your room and making coffee for myself. Because, yeah, exactly, every morning. But I have a confession to make. My senior year, during governance, I was making coffee in your room.
During governance.
During governance, I should have been typing up a research paper or something, but instead, I was making coffee in your room. And so I was cleaning, I was cleaning the little coffee pot thing, and I was like shaking it, and then, I don't know, I hit the back to it, or I hit the faucet or something, and glass went everywhere. I had 15 minutes to think of a solution. Again, while I should have been typing up a research paper or doing transcripts. So I dashed to the closest Family Dollar store, and I found that they actually sell little coffee pots by their own for $1. And so I dashed, and I came back, and like the coffee machine was like black, and the thing was white. And I think one of your advisees like accused me because they probably saw me, but I shook it off and I slipped through the cracks as well as I did with JCOS in general. So either way, that's all that I have to say. Thanks for being you, and you're great.
I just want to say that coming from Dana's advice senior year with you. I just could not have asked for a better advisor. There's so many similarities between you and Dana that it just like was almost like I didn't have a different advisor. And so you're just kind, generous, beautiful person, just like Dana was. So yes, and you've supported me through my senior year. You're awesome.
My turn. Okay, so let's see if I remember this correctly. I do. You were my science teacher, and I remember being forced to take science because I didn't want to, but I had to. And I decided to take biology because it's the closest thing that piqued my interest at the time. And I just remember the thought I had about science, and it was just I hated it because of all my previous teachers that I had. But you made it fun for me. And I remember the first day of class, I told you I'm not going to raise my hand. I'm not going to tell you my thoughts. And I'm terrified because I'm afraid of people making fun of me. And you said, that's okay. You'll be okay. There are other kids in here who don't know anything either. And you helped me through every single project that I had to do for biology because I came to you every single time to make sure that's what I was supposed to be doing, and you walked me through it, and I just really appreciate that because at the time I needed that guidance and that reassurance that I was actually doing something. And after that, I ended up really loving science. I like biology because that's what I took with you, but other sciences have piqued my interest now more so. And my favorite memory was when we took to see what our blood types were. And for some reason, either my pokes weren't hard enough or something's wrong with my fingers because blood just wouldn't come out, so I had to poke all of my fingers. But
Another thing the district shouldn't know.
It's okay, it's all Thank God.
But that was actually a really fun memory for me. I enjoyed it, actually, probably more than I should have. I enjoyed dissecting a worm. That was also really fun, minus the smell. But I kind of, ever since I graduated, I actually regretted not taking a single trip unless it was with my advising. But if I had to take a trip, I would take a trip with you, Roberta, and Dana. So, but thanks for helping me like science, and I think you're an awesome person and teacher.
So on the topic of not liking science, I started here in 9th grade, and I was going to take a pre-walk-by science class with Jarrett, and it filled up almost immediately, so Kara, who was my advisor at the time, was like, oh, okay, no, it's fine, I put you in Lauren's biology class. And I was like, no, you didn't. She goes, no, it'll be fine. And I was like, no, that's a walkabout class. I'm in pre-walkabout. She goes, well, you can handle it, it'll be fine. And I was the only 9th grader in that class. And on our first day, we looked at seashells, and then that didn't take up all of class. So you're like, we just feed the snakes. So then you fed mice to your snake. And I was just sitting there the entire time like, oh my God, what have I done? Because that was my first class experience at Open, because it was on Mondays at first period. And I didn't like science, but I knew I had to take science. And I ended up loving it, and I loved the way that you taught it, and we ended up talking about worms for 3/4 of the year. But I didn't notice because it was so much fun. And then I ended up taking more classes with you, and I took Dissing Darwin, which was awesome, and I took the Bioneers trip with you and Jen, which was amazing. And then I took Genderized with you and Benjamin, and you were like one of the first people who was involved in my transition, which was really cool to have that kind of connection with you. And I don't know, I think you've done so much for this community, and I don't know why I'm only just realizing it like this year, you seem to just keep coming up throughout everything and a lot of these conversations, and I think it's because you are leaving and people have just been talking so much about you and how much you've done for them and just how much you are in this community and how much Open School is connected to you. And that's been really cool for me, and I'm excited for you to go and have some stuff not with the Open School for a while until you come back and visit. So, thanks, Lauren.
So, Lauren, thank you very much for everything you did to me. You changed my life, and when I see everybody here, I know that I'm not the only one who changed the. You changed the life of, and I'm so glad I got here as an advisor. You're the best. I love you.
May I say a word? Okay, thank you. Well, I am Etienne's dad. Well, that's 2 years ago we came here, Etienne and me, just to see the school. I met Scott with my friend Rick Bosner. And after 2 days, Etienne said, "Dad, that's the school of my dreams." He did not even meet you. So he came back in September. That was in February or something like that. And there he took the wilderness trip with you. Well, with you, he learned how to sleep in a wet or soaked teepee, I don't know how to say that. He learned how to handle snakes, which is not really the best animal. Lots of things like that. I was just wondering what was happening. I am the dad. I was far away from here. But 2 days ago, Etienne had his final support meeting too. And there I understood what was going here. I discovered the deep, strong connections you have with your students. It's just amazing for people like me who come from far from here, of course, but from conventional schools where it's not exactly the same type of relations you have. And thank you so much for this relationship. It's just amazing to me. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
So one of the first classes I took with you, I think it was like my 7th grade year, so I was pretty much intimidated by like all the teachers in pre-walkabout and walkabout. And I don't exactly remember what science class it was, but I remember one time we stopped doing something so you can feed the snake. Worst experience of my life. I wanted to save that little mouse so bad. I had to walk out of the room because I hate snakes and I hate that you had to feed the mouse to him. But even though I don't like talk to you all the time, when I do talk to you, it's amazing. Like, I'm just really sad that you have to leave, and I hate talking at final support meetings because I always end up crying. So I'm going to make this really short. I'm excited to see where you go and what you do after this year, but I'm also really sad to see you leave. I love you, Lauren.
You're like a mentor to me. I feel like you've adopted me into your family. You were my first advocate. Coming back from the wilderness trip, I wasn't supposed to actually be here. And because of you, I stayed, because you fought for me. And the power of an advocate outside of your family, coming from a woman like you, showed me that I was worthy. And I appreciate that so much, so thank you. This support has continued past my high school and into my undergrad and into my family. You guide us with love through the hardship, and you've taught me to be accountable. You sparked my interest for science, and that continues today, as I'm on my path to become a doctor, and I can attribute that to you. And coming back last year to your class and your anatomy class and talking to the kids about like what the direction of medicine is and the questions that they were getting, it just brought me right back to the power that this education holds and how it continues through our life. And your ripple is continuous, and it has continued through my life, the power that the power that you invested in us as students and as people to inquire about the world. So thank you.
Hold on, no, she's gone. She's out of here.
I'm going to speak after Max, we have a gift for you. But I guess I wanted to say mostly. So I feel like there's so much to say, and I think a lot of us feel that way. But I wanted to focus on that there's only a few women in my life that I see as these feminine powerhouses that inspire me to be feminine, and you're one of those people because there's a lightness about you. There's this casual joyfulness about you that kind of defined my experience at the open school. That we get to go play in the woods and be on the beach, and when I got to go back years after I graduated and go on that trip with you, I used to sit on the beach and just cry by myself and hide it from the other kids. I was kind of fine, I'm just need a minute. And that's because there was this joy in life that inspires us to be learners. And I think that's something that you bring every day to the classroom and to all of us as people in your life. And I know, I was thinking on the way over here about how the last time I was at a final support meeting was 8 years ago, a really long time ago. And I remember the feeling of fear of leaving this place because it's such a beautiful place that we all feel like we grow up in. And then I look around here and these people are still my family, in a way that everywhere I go I take them with me, and people are like, wow, you guys have really special connections, and people are always really jealous of me and my booze, And I feel so thankful that your family specifically is part of that family, that all of you guys are part of my foundation, and it doesn't go away, it just gets better, So when we graduated, Megs and I gave you this poster-sized picture of ourselves, because everything is about us. So we gave you a new one. Megs had to do some pretty shoddy photoshopping, but Cayenne is included. So we love you, Lauren, and we can't wait to see where you go next.
It's what? Is it? Okay, so Colin, Megan, and I had a lot of discussion about what exactly we wanted to do for your final support meeting. And I just want to preface this by saying that 99% of you are not going to understand at all what's about to happen. but just embrace it for what it is and don't try and understand it. And so we figured that it would be fitting to celebrate the end of your time as a teacher here at Open School by going back to where it all began. And as you well know, it all began with Batman, Superman, a princess, and a mom. With that.
There were a lot of drugs in our house. And that might be an explanation.
There is a video of that performance.
Something about that.
That is my retirement. I'm going to sell that to Funniest Home Videos for $10,000.
That'll go far.
All right, so I'll go first here. Like so many other people here, I was fortunate enough to, be one of those that consider you as essentially a second mother. You really welcomed me into your family with open arms, and honestly, I can never really ever repay how much care you gave to me, not only as a child, but literally throughout my entire life. And I can honestly say that, without your guidance and, just who you are as a person and the influence that you had on me and kind of impact on my life, I wouldn't be the same person that I am today, honestly. And, I just admire as so many people have said, your nerdiness. You are one of the biggest nerds I've ever met in my entire life. And it's so awesome because you could be talking about anything and just be so excited about it, no matter who you're talking to. And I will never forget how bad that minivan reeked of formaldehyde forever after you brought those pigs into the school. And you are by far and away, one of the people that will laugh with others so easily, but, you have the ability to laugh at yourself so easily as well. And I don't mean that at all in a bad way. You do a lot of ridiculous things that but at the same time, it really embodies that persona of just being yourself and, not really trying to impress anyone else or trying to do anything to comfort anyone else's ego. It's really just, you are you. And I think I can speak for everybody here in saying that we've never met anybody else like you and never will. You're honestly one of a kind. And one of my favorite memories of spending time with you at your house was just sometime I was coming over to hang out with Colin. And I honestly don't remember how old we were, and I don't think it was April Fool's Day, but we had taken Vaseline and put it around the lid of the toilet seat, around the edge of the toilet seat, and Colin and I had just completely forgotten about it, and we were off doing something downstairs, and all of a sudden we just hear this scream from upstairs, and we're just like, oh my gosh, what happened, what happened? We run upstairs, and Laura just comes out just irate, just pissed, but at the same time laughing so hard because she just slid right down through it. That is by far my favorite prank that Colin and I have ever pulled on you. But with that, I just want to say that I love you, and I just feel so fortunate to have had as much time throughout my life to spend with you as I have. Thank you. Yeah, that was something I was going to say. That's my one constructive criticism, is always keep gum handy. We had far too many advisor meetings where it literally smelled like Lauren had been eating turds. And coming from someone who has had an elk turd thrown into their mouth, like, I know exactly what that smells like. So, that's my one constructive criticism.
Thank you.
That'll be lifetime supply of Orbit.
Okay, I'm gonna go. So, being a staff kid is great, but it's hard too, because like all of you have been saying, I shared my mom my whole life, and sometimes I got really jealous. But also, that is like the greatest gift, because my family, I have so many siblings. I don't even know like half of my siblings, I'm sure, because I just don't know you guys, but it's amazing. I mean, she's such a wonderful mother, and to try and keep that all to myself would be so selfish. So, anyways, so I'm really lucky to have her as my mom, and I was really lucky to have her as my teacher, because she's incredible. And just like the things that people have been saying here, it rings so true to me. She really allows you to be who you are, and that's super special. Also, I guess, I don't know, I keep thinking about this time I came back recently, and it was like winter vacation or something, and we walk into her room and she looks in her snake's tank. She's like, oh, cornflake's gone. I was like, are you kidding, where is it? She's like, I don't know, and just starts putzing around her room. And I think that's just who she is, you know? She's so caring and loving. I mean, she found it like 30 minutes later. I was like standing on the couch the whole time. I was like, is it in the bench? Where is it? And it just crawled into a little container on the counter or something. But I mean, I think that's just, she's so relaxed, like someone was saying before, so calm, so peaceful and wonderful. So, you know, I think we're all really lucky to share her. So thanks for sharing her with me. And I'm really excited for you. That's it.
I'll go now. So I don't think it was even 2 weeks ago. I went up, it was about 11 o'clock at night, and I was at my parents' house, and I went up and I saw her on the computer, 11 o'clock, preparing for the next day, the next morning, and you know, I was looking at her from behind, and the glow of the screen was just like illuminating her face, and in the pitch black darkness of night, and I like went up, you know, when she's zoned into the computer, you can, she doesn't know what else is going on, but right up next to her without her knowing. And I was looking at what she was doing, and she was just like she had like 15 different tabs open, all about squids. And she was just learning, you know? She was just sitting there learning. And I was like, at first I was like totally repulsed. I was like, it's 11 o'clock at night, woman, like, you're almost retired and you're putting this much into it? But then I realized that she's a lifelong learner, and she was doing what she loves, which is learning. And I heard once that work plus love is art, and I think that the way my mom has been a teacher has been as an artist who's been in love with what she does, and that for me at this moment in my life has been the most inspiring thing to see the way that she has led her life and done her job with so much art. And you dance through the world like that as a worker, as a lover and as an artist. So that's been really inspiring for me. And that's the way that you taught and the way that you mothered, and I don't think that there is a differentiation. Like Megan was saying, you did both things from such a place of love, and it was really apparent. So you read me a poem at my final support meeting, and I want to read you these song lyrics. I take some time and I reminisce, 'cause through the drama, I can always depend on my mama. And when it seems that I'm hopeless, you say the words that can get me back in focus. When I was sick as a little kid, to keep me happy, there's no limit to the things you did. All the childhood memories are full of the sweetest things you did for me. And even though I act crazy, I gotta thank the Lord that you made me. There are no words that can express how I feel. You never kept a secret, always stayed real. And I appreciate how you raised me and all the extra love that you gave me. Everything will be alright if you hold on. It's a struggle every day, gotta roll on. And there's no way I can pay you back, but my plan is to show you that I understand you are appreciated.
I guess I'll go. I've known Lauren for a long time, and when we first started out, we kind of started out on shaky grounds, and we stood on shaky grounds for a while. She forced me to do things that I didn't want to do, and she never gave up on me when most people would have. She forced me to go on the Alaska trip with her, and it changed my life. It made me the person I am today. And I just want to say thank you for that. Because without you, I don't know where I would be at. So thank you. Say hi.
I'm Lauren. So I want to, there are things I would say to you about being a role model as a woman. There are things I would say to you about being a friend, and about, oh, okay. Okay, all right. I don't know how this thing works. I'm not so excited that's good. All right, good. And there are things that I would want to say to you about about the kind of mom I know you are, and that matters so much to me. And also about a colleague, because really, honestly, I wouldn't be here. I'm among that group of people who are working here because of you, because you told them about a job, or you convinced them to come and be here. And that's one of the things that you did for me after my kids already had come here. You told me about a job opening, and then you marched me over to Scott and John in the trailer, which is where they were, and introduced me to them that moment. And I know you've done that for a lot of people. I know that that's true for a lot of people. But I really, right now, want to express my appreciation to you as a mom of one of your advisees, because that was the first way that I knew you. So I brought my brilliant son here to be, no, he's not here, oh God. Do I wish he was here. I brought him here to the school, and he had the fortune to be pulled out of the hat, his name, for you. And I feel so blessed that that happened. You were exactly the perfect person for him at exactly the right time in his life. And you encouraged him, and you heard him, and you listened to him, and you figured out who he was, and you saw all of the ways that he was brilliant and wonderful, but you also helped him to recognize some ways and places that he needed some work too. And that was important for him, because those things are hard for him to notice sometimes. So I am so deeply appreciative
of the time that you spent with him and the friendship that you grew with him. I talked to him last night, and he was really sad not to be here, and he talked about how if he were here, he would talk about how every single time he walks in a grove of trees, he hears your voice reminding him to notice the trees and how they're there all with us, all around us all the time. And how you once, he noticed a rock on a hike, and you guys, somehow you went back and got this rock, and he said it wasn't a small rock either, it was like a big old hefty rock, and it had a smile on it. And so you somehow went and got it, and he didn't even know you did that, and you brought it all the way back to Colorado and gave it to him later. And he still has it. I think those things are really important, and important to him about you, and you are important to me because you were there for him in like as another, a different kind of an adult in his life, and he really needed that. And I appreciate you so much. And so I made something for you that I would like to give to you now. And I'm going to give this to you on behalf of all of the moms who appreciate you deeply and what you have done. And I hope you will love it, and I hope you will use it and be comfortable.
Oh my goodness, that's gorgeous.
Now that's a retirement present.
Wow. Oh, thank you so much.
I could put it on the wall, but I'd much rather if you cuddled in it.
Oh, thank you.
Well, since I conveniently have the mic in my hand, I'll just go. Lauren, you and I have not really done very much together, although we did go on a hike last summer and we got lost, like somehow in Evergreen.
It tends to happen.
We're like, are we going to get to the end of the trail? Eventually, I think we went like a mile and a half out of our way. I was glad that yesterday you talked about mentorship, because you've definitely been a mentor to me in that, like, sometimes when I find student evaluations that have gotten lost on my desk, like for 2 months or a year, I think, like, what would Lauren do? She would just laugh and put it in the advisor's box. So that's what I do. And then sometimes when my room feels really messy, I'll just walk down and peek in. Feel better. So I appreciate that mentorship, and I aspire to be that mentor to someone else in the future. So, yeah. I might be one of the only people on the planet, probably the only person in this room who's ever seen you sing karaoke.
No. Yes.
Oh, no. So I feel really honored that I got to see that, and it was really incredibly cute, like more so than like kittens and stuff. Speaking of, and Colin was there too, and it was really fun. And I've been wearing the necklace that you gave me for like 3 months, so I don't know if you noticed that, but I haven't taken it off for a really long time. So thank you. I'm looking forward to more hikes, and I'm looking forward to pottery. Like, I hope that you'll come to my Mad Mud Pottery Club on Tuesday night. Everybody's invited. 3:30 at the open school, and we'll use that awesome studio that we have and make some beautiful art. So this is just the beginning of a different sort of relationship that we get to have. So congratulations. Jumping in.
So I moved to Colorado when I was 22.
Like this.
I moved to Colorado when I was 22, and I had read about this crazy open school place in University in Indiana. And I thought, well, that's where everyone should want to teach. So I moved out to Colorado and didn't get into the open school, but got into a school to teach at the Center for Discovery Learning down the street, where I met Gail over here. Hi, Gail. I love you. And Kelly was there. And the next year, I had a place opened at the open school.
And I never thought I'd get in, and I got in. And since coming to Open School, you've just, like, you taught me Open School speak, and you taught me Open School way. And I didn't know what advisory was, and you said, well, join me, we'll co-advise, and I'll show you how to do it. And so every Open School, like every wilderness trip, I shared a tent with you. Sand dunes, shared a tent with you. And so I have so many memories of us sleeping next to each other. And like, we're like, we really should go to bed, but like, let's talk about that one more story. And like, you just explained the history of Open School, and I was just such a sponge, and I wanted to know everything, and how Open started, and who are the key players, and what was that like, and where did the dreams come from, and you explained it all to me. And I was really a kid, like really young, and you taught me what was possible, and how to get my footing, and Japan was amazing, like Wendy said, and going with Dave, and I said, I don't know, what are these triads and being part of a support group, and you said, be a part of my support group, so I'm a part of your support group and a part of mine. And so I just feel like I've been behind you the whole step, and you've opened all these doors for me and taught me to be the type of learner that I am. And when I thought about not coming today, because it's far and expensive, I thought, like, every time I took a day and thought, I can't go, I was like, it just felt like this weight of regret of like, I'd be so upset if I missed it. You're so special to me.
So I have to tell one story about Lindsay. I got a letter from Goldie, who was an advisee of mine, and she said that when she first came to the school, we hadn't even gone on the wilderness trip yet, and we walked over to Safeway, and we came back, and we stopped at this little park and had a picnic, and she said, you taught me like teachers were human because you and Lindsay were airplaning. She said, like, you know, the kind of airplane where Lindsay was laying on the ground and her feet were in the air and your hips were on her feet and you were flying through the air. That's something I would have completely forgotten, but
I would never remember that either.
Yeah, we'll have to do that again.
Yeah,
I'm going to start to speak now. I hate to also say that we do have limited time to speak, but at least for me, I definitely need to. We're doing a retirement staff party afterwards at my place, and I don't want to leave my 13-year-old son alone with all the staff. I just thought it'd be fun. I will be stepping out at some point, but I do want to talk. And you know, when we did Japan, I recall Lindsay's shoulder popping out, and it's hanging down
racing
here.
up an escalator.
We were having fun. I said, Dave, can you put it back in? And Lauren's face is, I just took Lindsay's arm. How's that? That was good. So at this point, I think a lot of us here, I'll try to be brief as well. But I remember Alex Keswick unplugging my refrigerator over a Christmas vacation. And in that refrigerator and freezer was a bird, 4 mice, a dove, all frozen, a fox, skunk, deer, elk, antelope. Nobody that was even in there. Full freezer. I come back after a winter break and walk in my room, and it reeks. And there's this oozy blood stuff all over the floor. And I looked at it and I went, well, I'm not cleaning that up. And I didn't have to do it either. I told Alex Keswick because he unplugged the refrigerator and plugged in Christmas lights. So he had a fun break. But, you know, Japan, I just remember, just the camaraderie. I guess more than anything, how you have welcomed all of these people into your home and how you welcomed me into your family as well. I think the greatest compliment that you gave to me was you said that I reminded you at one point of your brother, Johnny. And I said, well, how would you like to? You're an annoying little shit right now, baby.
So, I had an awkward experience this morning. Kevin sent me a picture of what I thought was his new love interest. And I commented on such picture, and then a couple minutes later, he sent me back, that's a picture of Lauren Andrews when she was young. And that was for your students who look at you as kind of a mother figure. You can imagine I was a little scarred. So that's how my morning started, and I didn't know if I was gonna be able to make it today because I work in a weird place, and the more I thought about it, and that picture, I mean, not I had to come, so I moved some trains around and literally, anyways, I haven't been back here since I actually graduated, I don't think. And a lot of it has to do with that expectation. You want to come back and you have this image of like, you got gifts and you're wearing silk robes. Maybe I'm crazy. This is what I was thinking. And you've got all these cool things and awesome stuff to tell your advisor. And I'm here today. And I'm in my work clothes and stuff. And that is my robes, and you taught me to see that. And it's, I'll always remember, I have you in my mind a lot, and as people have been saying, your ability to enjoy the little stuff is so valuable. And I carry that with me every day. I'm super cool, so I'm not gonna cry. So I've got that going for me. But rather than silk robes and golden treasures and things to bring you, I brought you a tortoiseshell I found, and I know that's going to be kind of a treasure box for you in a way, and you're the first person I thought of when I saw that. And I'm glad I could be here for this, and I'm excited to hang out with you outside of school and outside of this place, and it's going to be just a new chapter, and I look forward to seeing how you deal with being outside the open school, how we all have, or how we all will and have done. So congratulations on a successful career.
And as I did throughout high school and my entire time here, I'll follow Jake. Yeah, you were not my advisor, but for both me and Megan, you were easily our second advisor. All the time I've ever spent hanging out in your room and all the mentorship that you gave me from Japan was, I think, the only trip or class I actually took with you, but it was so impactful. But though you weren't my advisor here at Open School, you've been my post-grad advisor. And in the years since, I'm so glad that you've been somebody that I can talk to about going to a more traditional setting and how to deal with that and what I've been doing out in New York. And you've been a great help ever since. And so those of you who don't know me and Jake, all our friends have already been brought up twice. Alex Keswick was the guy who unplugged was a good friend of mine and Jake's. And then our good friend Shot the Goose. Yeah, so thank you for surviving all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely did not make your job easy for a solid 4 years there.
At the very least, you taught us how to be patient, for example.
Yeah, very true. But you were always there to help us, and I think I just made you consult on one of my passages because I wanted you to be part of my high school career. And I want to say thank you for that year you let me and Jake put up Christmas lights in your room. Hope you remember that. Awesome. We're not. But thank you. Really, I don't think it can be said enough today. And thank you for everything you've done for all of us. And I'm really happy to stay in touch with you.
summer leading up to open school, I was terrified. And I didn't want to come here because I didn't want to go on the wilderness trip. I was scared. I would cry every day and throw a tantrum. And I was one of the lucky ones to get drawn to be in your advising. And that evening, I went and talked to you. It was like, I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. This lady says I can do it. Maybe I can. And after that wilderness trip, you sleeping next to me every night and my solo tent being like 10 feet away from yours, you guiding me and showing me what confidence and calmness and believing in myself, you showed me all those things. And throughout my whole time, and then ever since that trip, I've just tried to embody you and your calmness and your peacefulness and your confidence and your love of dirt. I was still sleeping in your tent a couple months ago on the wilderness trip. I really cherish our friendship, and I love you so much.
I lacked a lot of confidence in learning because I got made fun of a lot in my previous schools. So I had to take a biology class, and I was like, no, like, I don't want to do that. Like, it's terrifying. And Benjamin's like, no, Lauren teaches it. Like, you'll be fine. And I was like, no, like, I don't know this person. Like, I don't know. So I joined it anyways, and I ended up loving it because you made me confident in my learning. It was one of my favorite classes. My favorite memory was when we all bet James to eat the head off of the worm, and he did it. And then you came back and you were like, where did the head of your worm go? And we were like, I don't know. Like, but that was definitely a favorite memory of mine. But you also taught me a lot outside of a classroom. I think you've taught everyone a lot outside of a classroom. You're super kind, and I feel like you attract people that are super kind. I've only talked with Bruce like a little bit, but it just shows how you attract kind people because he's very kind too. And it's a good thing. I'm really happy I got to graduate with you teaching. And the things you said at my final support definitely I keep close to me. And I hope to always stay in contact through social media or whatever aspects. But thank you so much for everything you've done for me.
I'm going to try and insert myself in here because I keep hitting this and it's making noise while people are talking.
Like that. So, Lauren, I was so glad Roberta already brought it up, but talked about mentors in your speech yesterday, because I feel similar, that you have been just a tremendous mentor to me. I think it started with your two kids being my mentor, honestly, because they taught me what it meant to be an open school teacher, and then continued on with both of you. So I was really appreciative that that's how you left this place, because look around and the incredible mentor that you've been to so many people, students and teachers alike. I wanted to just share a funny story because I think otherwise I'll cry. So Lauren and I are leaving together, leaving a lasting legacy with not just the open school, but the district. We have recently been inducted and included in the what not to do when driving videos that every single school gets shown when they have to get their approval to be a certified driver. And it's just an honor to share that with you. All stemming.
Funny confession to make.
Oh no. Was it?
Well, no, it's just, I remember you being so worried that we were both gonna get fired. I was! And I was terrified too. that
Oh,
we were
you
both
you
getting-
really were calm about it.
I was. I really had to put on a strong face so that you would calm down.
Thank you, Lauren. So you know the story. We were driving in San Francisco, or outside of San Francisco, on the Pioneer Strip, those of you who were on it. And we took 28 kids. It was the most kids I've ever taken on a trip. And we had both of the short buses. And Lauren had already gotten pulled over once on the trip.
Not my fault.
And didn't get a ticket. The speed changed. Is Scott in here? Hey, Scott.
I'm trying to keep up.
And so anyway, one had a dash cam video. Who has that in the United States? I thought that was a European thing. And filmed Lauren and I tailgating, supposedly, and then passing on the right and all these things. And we were sitting in our district training at the beginning of the year, and we were right next to each other, and the woman brings up, like, I don't know who these people were, but they are the and like, Lauren and I are both like, oh my God, that's us. So
he sent it to the school district.
Oh, yeah,
not
yeah.
to like Scott or anybody else, but went right to the top.
Yep.
And we were sure it was going to be on 9 News.
Yep. And it really wasn't that bad when you watch it. Like, we were totally doing the right thing.
Our wonky bus just kind of goes down the road like this anyway, and he was like, oh my God, they're driving erratically.
Yeah. Here comes the other one right up behind. I mean, it was like this whole commentary about how terrible we were. So.
And we were women.
Right. That was pointed out too. So anyway, for those of you staff who were in that training and didn't know it was us, here we are. But on a serious note, I thank you for everything you've taught me. As I entered to become a Walkabout advisor, I did my first wilderness trip with Kurt, but I wasn't an advisor yet. And so just sharing that as my own rite of passage to be with you on my first advising trip, again, being terrified and you calming me down, and I just will cherish everything I learned from you, Lauren. Thank you.
So I'll try and do it without a mic. It's right time because having just driven back from Minnesota, those buses are wonky and they do bounce all over the road. No matter how hard you try and keep it in the middle of the lane, it's really difficult. So I've had a lot of intimidating experiences in my life and in my career at the Open School, but the most intimidating of all was early in my career. I had a staff kid in my advising group, and that was Megan. And so when you get a staff kid, it's always like, oh my God, am I going to be good enough to really live up to the standard? Especially when it's people that you hold in such high regard. And so many of you guys are just, titans and these Renaissance people that made this amazing and beautiful place for us all. And I was really nervous about doing a good job and doing something that I could be, respected for. And of course, Megan made that really easy because she's an amazing human being, which is also a testament to you guys and your parenting. And, Melissa talked about that a little bit, but when I went to Megan's final support meeting, I told her that if my daughter turned out like her, I would be really grateful. And you guys have done an amazing job of just creating these beautiful human beings. And despite Colin's spasticness when he was an adolescent boy, he came around, and it's just been magical watching him here subbing in the last few months because you have a knack for it. He can relate to kids and meet them where they're at in a similar way that you can, and so they've learned a lot from you. I wrote some things on my hand, so I wouldn't remember. Then I was thinking about sharing an advisee with you just last year, and as an advisor of last resort, my track record of helping kids make it back into the school was not that great. And so watching you work with Essa in that experience, it's just emblematic of what you do all the time, which is this consistent compassion and caring, and somebody mentioned that you remind them of Dana in that way, and I would say that that's absolutely true, that you're just so compassionate and you are always there for your kids. Another little tidbit there, I was in a meeting one time and you were supposed to be there, and we were sitting, and this kind of rings to what Colin was talking about on the computer, and one of your colleagues said, well, she might be in Lauren land, so we better go check. And there is a place called Lauren land, and it really sums it up very well. And I think that's probably a really nice place to be, Lauren land, because it sounds fun to me. But I think that, in that sense, I know that one of the things that you will miss very much about the open school is staff meetings. They're so fun to go to. But honestly, I think I've really thought a lot about this, and having some time to reflect in the last couple of weeks is you serve a really crucial role for me in working with the staff, because as people have talked about, you just have this calm way of responding, and we've been through some crises in the last several years, and I trust your opinion so much because you are really calm, and you don't get too agitated and extreme, and there are some people on the staff that can do that really well. But combined with that is just this deep dedication to the values of the open school, so I can trust your opinion so much because you're not reactionary, and yet you believe in what is happening here so deeply that you're not going to compromise that. So when I ask for your feedback on this particular issue, I know that it's going to be this balanced, well thought out, meaningful thing that will hold the values of the school at the, where it needs to be, and yet pragmatic enough to go, okay, here's a way to approach a certain issue. And I've really appreciated having that guidance when those comes up, and I don't know who's going to fill that void when you're gone. And so that will be hard. And then the last thing I just would say is, it's been a hard year, and just being able to talk to you has been nice. And I really do love you, and I love the way that you love kids, and my own kids too. So thank you. I'm gonna miss you.
Just a reminder, I don't think Dave said the time that we needed to end this by. We have another staff member retiring also, and another one leaving, and we're doing an end of year party. So we'll be ending this at 4, which we obviously know is not enough time. So there are books going around, so please be sure to write to Lauren, because we won't be able to get to everyone. Go ahead, Roberta.
So, yesterday you talked about needing to talk, and I know I need to talk, and I do not want to. But Dave's going to leave here in a minute, so I'm going to do it while the whole support group is here. The year that Zach graduated, I found myself crying all the time. Not because I knew I was going to lose my kid, but I was going to lose the opportunity to see him every single day. And my love for you is deep and solid, and I'm not losing you, but the thought of losing the opportunity of seeing you every day has made me cry all year long, every single time I talk about it. For those of you, there are a lot of you that know, but for those of you that don't, so I started student teaching here, and student taught for the first semester, and then Lauren came in the second semester, and I just didn't leave. My student teaching was done, and I just didn't want to leave, so I just stayed and made it a year long because I fell in love with this place. And then Lauren and I moved in with each other and lived in 2 different houses with each other. and started dating Bruce and Kurt at the same time. A little awkward. And then subsequently, you know, moved into those relationships. And you got pregnant with Megan, or you had Megan, and you guys had forgotten the video camera, and at that point, the video cameras didn't look like that. They were like this. And so they asked us to bring the video camera down to the hospital on the night that Megan was born. And I still swear this is how it works. I'm not a biology teacher, but 9 months later I was pregnant. So I'm pretty sure going to the hospital is what does it.
And you still say I'm not an accident.
So when we found out that we were pregnant, I was scared to death because I knew in my heart I'd be a lousy mom. And so I really, you know, was petrified. And then Kurt and I talked about it, and we all of a sudden started to get really excited about it. And the minute we became excited about it, there was only one place to go, which was to your house, because we wanted to share it with the two of you. You were the first people we wanted to tell that our lives were going to change. So, after having, Megan's 9 months older than Zach, and Colin's 6 months younger. So, for years, I don't know, 3 years, Lauren and I would substitute teach, and if I had a job, Lauren would watch the kids, and if she had a job, I would watch the kids, always at their house. Thank God for Lauren, because Kurt and I suck as parents, to be really honest. That fear that I had came to be true, and so Lauren really raised Zach. Thank goodness.
It's like a roast,
Because I would come, I'd be working, and I'd be really excited to see Zach, and I'd come to your house to pick him up, and he would run out. I'm not going over there. I'm staying. And I'd watch the three kids, and my most creative thing was to make them colored milk. Let's put dye in the milk. And Lauren would create these beautiful ballets wearing grocery bags. Very creative. And then when Zach came back to the open school after being at Compass for middle school, you picked his name out of the hat, and you got to be his advisor. And as other parents have said, I'm so grateful that I thought it might be weird, and it wasn't at all. I mean, you are his second mother, maybe you're his first mother. I don't really know anything about science, as people know, and that's his love, and I'm sure that was engendered a lot. I mean, you two could talk about that, and I couldn't, so I appreciate all that. I have loved being in our support group together. You've helped me through the hardest part of my life that I ever had to deal with. I loved doing most trips with you. I didn't like our trip to the West. That was a disaster. But
it was hilarious.
It was hilarious and a disaster. But the women's backpacking trips in particular are something that I valued, because it was really selfishly a time to enjoy being empowered women with each other, and then sharing that with a group of young women in a really special way. And so those are special and wonderful memories for me. I know, how long have you been retired, Bruce? How many years?
9 years.
He's been waiting a long time to travel with you and to do things with you. And selfishly, I mean, thank you for letting not letting, but for supporting Lauren in staying. And I know you struggled even this year with the choice to leave, because I know you love your students, you love this place. I know it's part of who you are, just as you are so much a part of who I am. I aspire to be like you. I am that awful staff member that Scott just mentioned, the reactionary one, and you are the one. You are the one who does bring that moment in our staff meetings when you can remember the sentence that you're going to say. Once you remember what the sentence is, you bring that clarity to us when we really need it. And as Scott said, we're not going to have that anymore. And we do need that. And hopefully, not hopefully, you have been our mentor, and we will carry that. But I can't even imagine. I'm going to miss you so much. And I appreciate everything you are to me.
I'm glad Roberta talked first, because she said a lot of the things I was going to say when I speak first. She always finger waves me and says, "You said all the stuff I was going to say," so it didn't happen this time. I want to echo some things. I have a whole napkin full of stuff, so and I can read it this time because I got my glasses. You know, I thought it was interesting that your speech yesterday focused so much on mentorship. Because you are the mentor to the mentor. You're the advisor to the advisors. When Gail left and Judy Sherbert left, you were the one that stepped up and took that role along. And I agree with Scott that there are a lot of Dana-esque things that you do, but you remind me most of Judy. For me, that's one of the best compliments I could ever give anybody, because she was my mentor in terms of helping me grow. And you remind me so much of her. In the way that you mentored me, whenever I'd start feeling sorry for myself that I was working too hard, I'd look at you and see that you were teaching 6 or 7 classes, all of them, that your personal life would be stressed because you were always here. And remember the year that you even did Saturday school, so some of your kids could graduate. And kids that, you know, Greg Dominic was here, but I think of kids like Edward, and I think of kids like Matt Habegger, and Will Kitts, and Odin, who aren't here, who could tell stories about what you did for them. But you did that for us too. All the time. Your dedication is incredible. And I believe that what people have said about your courage and quirkiness, it's a unique combination. I have to tell a couple stories. I remember we were looking for something in your car. I don't remember what it was, but it smelled really bad. And we were digging it all around under the seats trying to find whatever it was, and finally Warren pulls something out and says, "Oh, here it is." And it's this bag of rotten meat that's been under the seat of their car for months. How did that get there? I don't know. I kind of remember putting it under there. There were a couple times when you disappeared on me. If you see that picture up there in the Boundary Waters where Lauren is just flat out on that drum arrest, that happened right in the middle of a sentence. I was talking to her about something and I looked over and that's what I saw. She was just exhausted. And I think that speaks to what you did.
Kurt hung it in the staff room with a big sign that said, your tax dollars hard at work.
I remember in Belize, that was the hardest trip that I ever had. I couldn't have done that without you. And I found a couple limits for you that people don't know about. You know, Lauren loves creepy, crawly things and snakes. But twice in Belize, you were challenged. At one point, she and Rosie, they had this nice cabana, just the two of them, that overlooked this small lake. And they came up and they said, "Oh, Kurt, there's a scorpion in our room. We need you to get it." And I said, "Oh, okay, I'll get it." I thought, you know, I'd march in there and catch this little scorpion and be this hero and walk away. So I go into the room and they said, "It's behind the picture." They pull this picture out and this thing that's like 8 inches long goes flying across the wall. I'm thinking, crap, I don't want to catch it. This little Tupperware bowl that I'm trying to catch it in. And so I can't let them know that I don't want to do this anymore and that I'm scared crapless. So I take the lid and I'm trying to flick this thing and I finally flick it and I think, oh my God, I just flicked it right onto my face. And by some miracle, it falls in the Tupperware, so it looks like I did it on purpose. I slapped the lid on and I'm all triumphant. And so, well, what are we going to do with it now? So none of us wanted to kill it, so we dropped it in the lake and hoped a fish would eat it, and the thing went on the bottom of the lake and we just watched it crawl away. And then, there's these snakes down there called fer de lances, and they're really deadly, like really deadly. And the caretaker out there came up to me and said, "Hey, you want to see a fer de lance?" And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah, come on." So he takes me over to the edge of the jungle and we're moving these leaves and I'm thinking, this is not a good idea. And we move these leaves and there it is, there it is. So where? There it is. In the middle of the jungle floor, there's this snake head sticking straight up, and that's what they do. They just freeze and they don't move, and that's their defense. And I'm looking at it going, whoa, that's really scary, and I'm glad I saw it. So I go back to the eating hall, and there's Rosie, Luke, and Lauren. I said, "Hey, you guys want to see a fer de lance?" And Rosie and Luke said, "Yeah." And Lauren says, "Well, yeah." We have to walk to get to it, and I'm talking to Lauren about it, and we get to the edge of the gravel, and we start walking on the grass, and I'm still talking to her, and we're walking over to where this thing is, and I'm saying, "Okay, now keep your eyes open, because it's been a while. It could have crawled out of there. Be careful, Lauren." And I turn, Lauren. And so she's standing on the gravel, and she won't take another step onto the grass to go over to see it. She never did. And we went over, and it was still there. And I said, "Okay, that's really cool, but don't tell the kids because we don't want them to come over here." And so we went back over there, and one of them said, "Hey, did you guys see the fer de lance?" I saw it 2 hours ago. I said, "You did not." And they had pictures of it, so they knew about it. This is what I was going to say earlier, that I knew that, you know, the thing that you always did was you would push yourself right to the edge of everything. You work. And then the last day of school, you were done. And I don't know how many of you guys got end-of-year evaluations from the previous year back from Lauren the following November. That was pretty much a pattern. And you have to take a day off from your job to do your job. Because you push yourself right to the end, and then you couldn't do it anymore. That was the end of it. And I knew I could always count on you that no matter how late my evaluations were, yours would be later. Until today, because I still had a Belize evaluation, and Aaron Snyder's in here somewhere. And I gave Connors back to him 2 days ago, and I thought, there's the last one. Aaron's here. I can give her this evaluation I've been holding on to for like 6 years. And I run down to my room to grab it so I could give it to her, and it's gone. They lost it. And I thought, what could be more Lauren-esque than that? 6 years late, and then I lose it.
Hey, Jeff still has some.
Anyway, I don't need to take a lot more time because I know we're running out of time. But I just want you to know how much you've been a mentor to me. I agree with Roberta. I can't possibly thank you enough for what you did for Zach. Not only in his formative years when he was little, but as his advisor, it was just so wonderfully symbiotic. for Roberta to be Colin's advisor and for you to be Zach's, no, not for Megan, but for the two of them. For the two of them, that couldn't have been better. That was wonderful. And to have them graduate with each of you giving them their diploma from this place was just one of the most beautiful things. You couldn't have written it any better, nor could your career have been written any better. I agree with Roberta too. I think I'm happiest for Bruce because I know how long he's waited to have this time. And I'm so glad that it's going to happen for you guys and you still have so much energy to enjoy exploring the world. I'm jealous of that and really, really glad for it. So thank you for everything you did for me, for all the kids that are here and that aren't here, and my son.
I want to introduce one of Lauren's really good friends from college, Mary Manson. Can you just say hi?
I've known her since she was 18.
Yeah. And Jake, I know exactly what you're talking about. So, one of the first times I ever met Mary, we're sitting around and she's, you know, joking about things, about college days and all of that. And we were married. And the way she described Lauren was the biggest loser magnet ever. And I'm thinking, I wonder if I fit in that category. I know you didn't mean it that way, Lauren. I mean, Mary.
It wasn't that she was a loser magnet. Everybody loved her. I mean,
Right.
you go to a party and you do where'd Lauren go?
She's with that loser over there, right?
I just wanted to talk to Lauren.
Yeah.
When I was 4, she had to be really nice to me before we left.
So, there's a lot to say. I'm glad the 9 years were yours because, you know, I think you've done so much in 9 years. I know more about you guys than you would ever care to know than I know about you used to. James, I know everything that's happened to you. That you did and didn't do and when you did it or didn't do it in this year. And, you know, all of you. Because when Lauren loves this. That's it. She loves it. She loves you guys. It's meant the world to her. I'm glad for you. So, anyway, we got lots of time.
We would like to give you something from staff, and Susie has made something from all of us here to give to you.
I just want to say, my friend, that the separation between our friendship, us as colleagues, as family members, I adore you. I respect you. I love you so much. We have a lot of roles here, and we all play them. And as a teacher, you are extraordinary. And it was a gift to me to get to sub, not so much for you guys, not being a science teacher, but oh, I learned so much, and I was just so impressed by the way the kids respond and how, and the kind of risks you took and the kind of challenges you took on to give them the very best science education. You are a lifelong learner, as everyone has said, and you lead with your passions. And I look over and I see Annie, and Annie began to teach the beading class after you taught beading, because that was another one of your passions. I don't know if people know what an artist Lauren is as well. So you've taken kids on trips, you've taught classes that that really were risky in terms of what the district would say about them, that meant a huge revelation and support to so many kids who needed them. As a staff member, I couldn't say it any better than Roberta said it or Scott, that that's what we know you for. You are an advisor to advisors. You are so generous. That's so full of energy, so full of support for all of us. As a friend, there's nobody more wonderful. You helped me and Jeff with Lucas and Lauren, and you let us into your family so we could enjoy Megan and Colin. And it just seems like for all the big events, you guys are there. She is the best thing that ever happened to you, Brucey. So, to be tasked with doing something for you, I mean, it was vast what the subject could be. What could it be for you, you who love so much? You who are such an adventurer. So, the Tori is a Japanese day. That is the marker for a transition to another place, and often a spiritual or a holy place. And embedded in this painting are the things that you love. There are words in there, there are images that are within the paint that are all about you and about this joyful journey you're about to embark on, which will be as joyful as what you've given to all of us here. I just love you, my friend.
I meant to tell one story. I got a call from Dave. Dave told me when he said, I found your wife today. She was standing in the hallway halfway up the stairs. And she's just standing there. And he said, Lauren, are you okay? She says, I don't know what I'm doing here. I think it happened a couple of times. It was not the first time that happened at all.
It was a regular occurrence for me to show up in the office with no idea why I was there.
Lauren, I just saw this thing today. I thought it was worth explaining. Recently in governance, there was your advising was tasked with presenting something about sex education. Remember this? But the whole advising, I don't know how this happened, but they made human costumes of different sex prophylactics, if you will, different, protections. And I was like, this is great, this is so cool, it's like so engaging. And later, someone tells me, yeah, I don't think that Christian school that was visiting really liked that. That was so classic. Oh my God, it was. Yesterday morning, you sent me a text message to tell me that the graduation was here instead of up on the mountain, and it was a group message to me and Colin. And it occurred to me, it just struck me so hard thinking of, here you are retiring, and you have so much on your mind, you have this speech to give, and you're going to think of someone else to remind me, alongside your son, that the graduation was here so I could be here. And of all people that could have told me it was you, and it just was so emblematic of the love that you have for so many people, and this like blurry line of family that you like to ride. There's just the gratitude I have for you and what you've done for my family. is endless. Like, it's unexpressible, and I love you so much forever, Lauren, and thank you.
I want to say something, so I doesn't get cracked. This has been, again, 17 years of coming here. Lily, my oldest daughter, my middle daughter, the oldest one that came here. And she's a really strong girl. Thank you, everybody, for putting up with her through the years. But, she's strong-willed, wild Lily, who's now in Santiago, Chile. But I think it was the strong women, you and Roberta, who helped to mentor her. I think of Jack's stories, also through you and Bruce and Kurt, who was my most loved boy. So far, I have 2 grandsons, so maybe I'll lift them especially as Jack. Well, so far. But anyway, I think of you all through the years, and when for final support for Annie, I went out to the car and I had all this stuff to bring in. And who was there but Lauren? I said, I can't imagine opening school without you. And she said, I can't imagine it without you. But I think I'm from psychiatry, and there was this mentor, Milton Erickson, who was a famous psychiatrist, a mentor person, but he would say to his therapy people, my voice will go with you. And I think hearing everybody talk, your voice will go up with us. It's true, and the things that you've engendered in all these human beings, all these people, it's going to grow. And not that they will become Lauren, but you planted the seeds. And they will take over individually and together some of the tasks that you've done. I hope you have a wonderful life. You've raised 2 great kids. Thank you for the teaching of Milton.
Lauren, I've been trying so hard to talk, and it's so hard. And I know I'm gonna cry, and this is gonna be really hard. I'm gonna miss you so much, and I just really wish you could stay one more year for my senior year. You have been an amazing mentor, an amazing friend, an amazing person, an amazing mother. I'm so grateful for your wisdom and your guidance and your support. And I know you're not going to be gone forever, and you'll be walking around the school. But I'm going to miss being able to come and talk to you every single day. And I'm going to miss your laugh the most. And I just don't know how to thank you enough, because you've done a lot for me. And thank you for being my advisor. And thank you for helping me grow as a person and a student. Thank you. So here's some flowers and a card for me and my mom. And just a little charm bracelet. I got this charm for you to add because it was necessary.
I think, just because there's no one from the elementary that's spoken, I just want to say that it's been a long road at the open school to combine this amazing, truly pre-K through 12th grade school, and it wasn't always an easy road, and it still sometimes isn't, because elementary and secondary folks don't always see things or kids in the same ways, and Lauren has been a tremendous example of what it means to be part of a K-12 family and the kinds of advising things that she's done in family groups over the years, joining together our elementary students with our secondary students. Unbelievably instrumental in the garden in bringing that piece to our school, which is just a tremendous gift to students. So really, on behalf of the elementary, to kind of make that bridge for kids to create truly a lifetime experience for them, watching my own kids go through the program. And also, I'm Lauren's neighbor, and so she has been, they moved to Australia 16 years ago when I moved into the neighborhood, and when Lauren and Bruce moved back, I just, for 16 years, been walking down like, so what do you do with a crazy teenage boy, and how can I get my daughter to emulate Megan? And no, Megan can't babysit, but Colin can, and Colin babysat for us a lot, but I'll still be running down 2 doors, begging for advice on how to help my kids grow up. And so tremendous gratitude for helping create the school that ought to be the school that is pre-K-12, the school that sees all of each other together. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, isn't perfect timing. We're all going to do it. Go
Hey,
ahead.
I didn't mean to see you there. Hey, all right. Go ahead, you're up.
So we're all going to be up because, wow, outside of this beautiful place here called the Open School, Lauren was incredibly supportive and important and a real pillar in a group called Options in Education, which Doug was the treasurer forever, and some of the rest of you in here have been involved. And so just want to acknowledge that she shared herself beyond the boundaries here, and it was a wonderful opportunity to get to know you. I took a kid from a treatment facility to Lincoln High School the first time I met you, and you may have been with child then, I think it was, and so it's been a long, wonderful back and forth. But the Options people, I can't thank you enough for all you did. And
yeah, and I think, Lauren, you and I started in Options really close to the same time. And we kind of grew up together in what this type of education is. And you made such a difference in my career and in my life, but definitely in my career, which, you know, listening to all these stories, it's like, this is stuff I knew was going on, but to hear it, it's just like, wow, you have made such an impact. And by helping me know what to do in an alternative setting, because I was new to that when I first started with Options, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? Because I hadn't done that before. And you helped me, which resulted in me helping other students. And your impact is a lot wider than just this school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, I can't tell you how much that means. And the support you gave me as my friend. So, like driving over to Grand Junction to go to my husband's memorial service. I mean, how many people do that? And you were there to support me, and I really can't tell you how much friendship over these, 30 years has been. Yeah. So thank you. I love you.
I do want to add a couple more things. I go back through the Options experience with Lauren as a staff member here working together with Options. But before that, I even go back to the days in the galaxy far, far away, a long, long time ago, when Lauren and Roberta were student teachers at the Evergreen Open School, Evergreen Open High School, Mountain Open High School. There we go. And I remember those days really well. And I walked in this afternoon and saw Lauren and thought, well, the hair color is a little different, but the smile is just the same as it was all those years ago. And it's been such a pleasure to be your friend and colleague and work with you. One other thing, I think we're all lucky that you've made it this far intact. And I have one more, white knuckle story to share. I don't know if you remember the time we went to one of our Colorado Options conferences. It was over in the Western Slope. It was November, or February. We always pick either November or February. And we set out in fairly decent weather from Denver. By the time we got to the top of Vail Pass, it was a total nightmare. And I was driving, and there were 4 of us in the car. I don't remember for sure. I think Linda was. And it was maybe John McCluskey. Can't remember for sure. 4 of us in the car. I'm driving. We're going down Vail Pass. Nobody else is around. We're going, I think we went down at approximately 4 miles an hour, because that was all the faster we could go.
You're dedicated alternative educators.
Well, we were kind of trapped alternative educators also. Lauren stayed calm, helped keep me calm. I managed to hold the wheel, and we got down to the bottom. So we all lived to see this happy day.
Make it to. We couldn't get over Kenosha Pass, so we turned around and went to my house with 4 of us in my car and had a great
And all the food.
my house. Yeah, and all the other good stuff. And it was unbelievable. It was Pat and Dana and Lauren and me, and we had a good old time for about 3 days, I think, being snowed in at my house.
Yeah, you guys could probably get out. You're like, oh no.
Yeah. I know. And I think at one point Pat called Jacob or we were like, Pat, can you call Jacob and see if he can come over and plow? And I think Pat pretended like she called to Jacob to see if he could come over and plow us out. And he, said he couldn't, but I think, that was her story. I just want to be really brief here and just tell you, you can take the woman out of the open school, but you cannot take the open school out of you and your heart. And you're going to have so much fun in the next years processing your experience here, and it's going to come up in so many different ways, and you'll have tears and you'll have laughter and you'll let go of things maybe. I don't think I've ever seen you angry. I'm sure you must hold it somewhere at times. But, and any kind of little things that maybe you've held on to that haven't been so great, you'll let go of those things. And the school will always be here, and you can come back to it. And I want to be one of your mentors for retirement because it's so much fun, and it's just a whole new life and a whole new world, and you will always carry it with you and incorporate it into other experiences always. So I love you, and have fun.
Okay.
No, you can.
Okay, so one of the memories that pops in my head whenever I think of you was that one time we were in Puerto Rico, and Eli was trying to teach some of us how to do backflips off the pier, and then you come up, and I don't know how it all happened, but the next thing I know is that your back is against the ocean, you're doing a backflip off the pier, and I was like, oh my God, my teacher just did a backflip off the pier. So now every time someone does a backflip or something, I'm like, yeah, my teacher can do that. So yeah, that's just one of the memories. Yeah, like everyone else, I'm gonna miss you, and I'm really glad that you got to be my consultant for my door. That was really cool, talking about dead people and stuff like that, yeah. So that was really great.
And yeah.
So, I just want to say thank you for what you've done for me in the past like year and a half. You know, you really helped me through like one of the hardest times of my life, which happened this year, and you were there for me like all the time, always checking up on me and always just making sure I was okay, which I really, really appreciate. And you know, I'm not the best in terms of work ethic, and you were, you know, you always helped me to pull myself out of like the hole that I dug myself. And you've been such like a best friend for me, and really have been like like another mother to me. And you've helped me grow so much as a person. And you know, being in your advising has been one of the best experiences of like my open school career. And you know, I'm happy that I got to share all these experiences with you, like going on the wilderness trip and going to the hot springs. And it's just, you know, to me, the school is not going to be the same without you here. So I just want to thank you.
I guess I'll keep it short. I just want to say that this past year I've been through a lot of changes, and just your presence has helped me go through that. And there wasn't like a specific thing you did for me other than just be around and teach me in biology, and seeing you get so passionate about the littlest things. And as everyone said, you are such a nerd, and I like that. And it's that passion that lets you be able to study all these different things. So when you do go off on a tangent, you can just talk for hours about it. And that's because of your passion. And I realized that like I don't have to be the smartest to be able to pursue science. And you kind of like set me straight without even trying, I don't think. I just want to thank you for that. And I mean, even now, I remember the last day of biology, I was pretty sick, and my dad's like, we should take you to the hospital. But of course he was overreacting a bit, and I was like, no, I want to go to biology. And I would have never said that a year ago. I just want to thank you for that.
Lauren, I want to thank you for being a part of the village that raised my kid. I find it very interesting that the universe knows exactly what you need as a parent and as a child in our life. And I was not gifted with tearing apart animals and things like that and dissecting. And the universe knew that my child needed to have that gift. And so you came in at that point. I also find it funny that the universe knew that at one point in time we would meet each other and meet each other again. I found the pictures of when, back in the day, at Ralston. So I just wanted to thank you for being a part of that. And Kaylee couldn't be here, but she said thank you so much for creating that nerd in her, that science nerd. And so this is some chicks and hens for your garden. And anytime you remember that you helped not only develop our family, but all these other people's families as well.
There's a mushroom in there too.
Cool.
one
We
quick
hate to
thing.
be the timekeepers. It's 4, and so in good open school fashion, we'll go 15 minutes more.
Okay, as an open school parent, one of my favorite things is to pick kids up from trips. And one of the first trips that one of my kids took with Lauren was the one Melissa was talking about with Dakota and the trees. And I remember Lauren getting out of the bus, and I'm sure it was late and some awful time on a weekend when Lauren could have been in bed somewhere else comfortable. And she said, she looked about like that picture right there, and said, at one point, driving across the desert in Nevada, I woke up and all I could see was teenagers' feet and garbage, and it stunk. And I thought to myself, how did I get to be here? And I said I wanted her name in blood, that she would stay there in that place until my kids were done. very, very selfishly. But that's the extent, I think, that Lauren gives of herself to make sure that not only Dakota had his teaching experience, but my kid got to have his learning experience on the same trip. At the same time, we were on the original leadership council, and somebody wanted a picture. I don't know, Tony probably wanted a picture or something. And I remember we were lining up, and we felt that was the turnaround year, and it was a little scary. And we'd been here long enough to know that we couldn't go anywhere else. And I was standing next to Lauren, and we felt as if we were standing on the front of the Titanic having our picture taken, because we just didn't know. And that was a rough, a rough time. And I remember saying something like, if this doesn't work, we're taking them all and going to the woods. And Lauren agreed that that's what we could do. And fortunately, we're here in this new building, and we don't have to do that, but we can go and come back and remember what a wonderful time it was. But thank you for leading us at that time, and then leading our kids every year. I appreciate everything you've done. Everything you've ever done, and he said he misses you, and you know it's huge. I want to enter in a text.
Okay, I'm gonna insert myself. I have a really hard time in these situations, as those of you who have witnessed me in the last, I went to 16 final support meetings over the last 3 days. And I usually find some awkward moment to try and say something, and then I get interrupted, and then I don't, and then I get shy, and then I can't speak. And I know that if I just spoke without reading, I wouldn't get another word out. Lauren is definitely the reason I'm here at this school, and that I found this place. So, but the beginning of March, I have this practice this year. If you know this about me, every year I create a daily practice in my artwork. And so this year is about gratitude. And so I do an Enzo circle every day that's inspired by either a memory or a smell or a song. And so in the beginning of March, I did Lauren. And so I have 365 choices throughout my lifetime to honor this year. And she was within the first 2.5 months. That says something. But so what I thought I would just do here, rather than choke on my words, is just read to you what I wrote for that Enzo that day. I believe it was nearly 8 years ago when I first met Lauren. I was keynoting a conference on gender at CU Boulder, and she, along with Benjamin Dancer, accompanied a high school group from the Jefferson County Open School to attend the conference. The students came up following my presentation and invited me to come speak at their school for a diversity day. A lifelong relationship with many of those students, both Lauren and Benjamin and JCOS, was born. It was after that, and actually for about 5 years, that I volunteered here and worked just because I loved it. Let's see. It was after that that the students at JCOS began to take full advantage of my studio projects, and with the encouragement of Lauren and Benjamin, I began volunteering teaching at the school. I had never taken on the identity of teacher, even though I had been running my studio at that point and my projects with youth for over 15 years. Lauren has really helped me to identify, claim, and embrace myself as a teacher. But it doesn't stop there. As she enters her last year of teaching at JCOS, I have been honored to join in many loving and challenging events with her advising group. We began the year with the wilderness trip. That was a huge challenge for me, as I had never really liked hiking, and I historically have an extreme fear of nature. So, and then today, which was that day, she helped me find out my blood type, which is B positive, which I think is really funny for me to be B positive. By pricking my finger. When I was 5, the story goes that it took 6 people to hold me still for the doctor to prick my finger at my physical. So the fact that it only took her to do it today was a pretty big deal. Tomorrow we will be conquering yet another thing that I have had much fear around. As part of a 3-day advising trip, we are headed to a hot spring. I often find that as a trans person, the navigation of things like this can be terrifying. But by this time tomorrow, I will likely be experiencing the hot springs in the safety of my community, with the incredible and supportive friends and groups of kids that I am happy to move through this fear with. Lauren has inspired me from the moment we met. She actually, when I first looked at her, looked like a therapist that I had had when I was a teenager. And I didn't know if I loved her or hated her in that moment. She is, from that moment we met, to be my best self and to challenge many fears, but most of all to embrace and trust all of my teaching and learning moments as they occur to me. And there's like perhaps nothing that I'm more grateful for than that. I mean, if any of you know anything about my background, mine was the polar opposite of what this school is. And the fact that you invited me into this community where I found my love and my life and my family, which is something that I wasn't supposed to have. So I thank you for that, for being that person. And I look forward to your retirement as well. And like some people are saying that, I will miss seeing you every day, but I know that you're my friend. And I know that we're gonna go for hikes, and I know that we both live up the hill. And so in that way, I'm not gonna miss you at all. I'm gonna be thinking about all the wonderful things that you'll be doing, how you'll tend your garden and you'll, nerd out over whatever you nerd out about, but that you'll always be an Enzo to me. So you bring me full circles.
But I just know that after being in Jerry's advising, and then it was me and Charlie both coming to you at the same time, and I remember one of the first things that you said to us was, "So you guys are a package deal." And we both looked at each other and we went, "Yeah." But and I was really worried because I had got for a really long time I thought, well, siblings can't really be in the same advising. But you did. You accepted us both and you let us be a part of your advising, and I know that I had already wanted to be in your group, probably from the first class that I was in with you. And but I just, and one of the things that keeps popping up in my mind is that I know I would talk to you all the time about all kinds of stuff, and I know for the most part that was just mainly me talking shit, but but you let me talk to you, and you just, and you just were such a great listener. But I remember one time that I got so mad, and I was talking to you, and I was really upset, and you said, at some point you're going to have to stop being the victim of everything that happens to you. And I remember I got so mad when you said that, because it was like, well, what the fuck? And I was really mad. And I went to Larry, and we're talking about it, and I realized, you're right. And ever since I've been trying really hard, I've just been trying really hard to just take what you said and take everything that you've given me and everything that you've taught me and shown me as a person and as everything else, and just to be the best person that I can be. And even though, I never got along with any of my parents very well, and you were kind of that person for me. And you still are, and you always will be, even if I don't always see you. But I love you, and I'm really happy that I got to support you today. Thank you, Lauren.
So we should probably take the time to say one last thing, or we will. So Colin inspired me to start thinking about a way to end the meeting in terms of a song, and the first thing that popped in my head was Fare Thee Well, Grateful Dead. Chris, my friend over there, fellow Grateful Dead fan. So if everyone could, if you're not already standing, if we could all just stand. I don't have a diploma to hand you. But perhaps I'm gonna sing? No. Do it, sing. In the tone. And I'm gonna kind of mix up some of the lyrics a little bit to fit. So, in a bed by the waterside, you will lay your head. Listen to the river, sing sweet songs to rock your soul. Fare you well, fare you well. We love you more than words can tell. Listen to the river, sing sweet songs to rock your soul. So we thought the best way to end our meeting would be just to give you one big love back and clap and just show our appreciation in that way. So thank you.
I'm doing it. Group hug. Okay. All right. Here's one. There we go.
Don't be shy.
I have to feel so bad. We'll see you soon.
You pronounce everything so
Yeah, I will. Colin, I've been trying to. I've been trying to.
say this? Is that you?
Did you hear the story?
No, I want to hear it.
So, like, you know this.